Jessica, we need to talk.
What? What's up?
We've been hand-holding them way too much, and it has got to stop.
What?
Okay, we've been in the kiddie pool for way too long. You know, we've been giving them all these instructions, telling them what to do next, but then when they're out in the real world, working on their own projects, they're gonna get stuck. They're not gonna know what to do next. And when they're in the deep end, they might drown. You don't want them to drown, right?
Whoa. That's super extreme. All right, so let's compromise. So how about for the next feature of adding images to the app, we'll help them by thinking of strategies to execute and then what order to execute those in.
Okay, I could see that working out, but no more hand-holding after that.
All right, so we've come to a key point in every developer's workflow. The app is functioning, and it tells the users about the Miwok translations for the English words. Now, a feature request has come in to add images to the app, and we discussed it with our designer, and this is what we'd like the app to look like. So if you're on a team, it's common for you as a developer to take on a single feature, like adding images to the app. It's also common for a program manager or tech lead of your team to ask you for a time estimate of how long it'll take you to build out a feature. So I won't ask you for a time estimate, but I do want you to estimate the scope of your work. So at a high level, what changes to the app needs to be made? So you may be thinking, I understand what we need to achieve and why, but I'm not sure the next steps to get there. And I'm not even sure how to determine the scope of the work. Well, all those thoughts are perfectly normal, and that's why we're here to help. So one of the first things we can do to plan is to make sure we have a mental map of our code base and review how everything fits together. So you may have noticed our code has gotten quite complex. There's multiple layout files, a few Java files, and a couple more resources as well. So using a mental model, we can peer into our code and anticipate and visualize all the modifications that we'll need to make to the different parts of the code base. Depending on the feature, it could mean affecting many different files. So having a mental map will help us anticipate where we'll need to make changes. So let's revisit our mental diagram from lesson 1. We've built out a lot more features since then, and we've made some modifications to it slightly. Now, there's no rules for how to create a proper mental model, as long as you can keep track of all the major parts of the app. So since the app is getting more complex, we can zoom out a bit, meaning we don't have to include all the details that we originally had. So we know that they're still there, but they're just not at the top of our mind. So currently, this is a model of our app flow. So tapping on each category takes us to the appropriate activity. We've also taken a look at how each activity gets and displays the appropriate data. So let's focus in on the numbers activity. We stored data in Word objects inside an array list and retrieved and displayed that information in each list item using the list view and array adapter combination. So in the next node, you'll see the two diagrams of our current mental model of the app. So to help us scope out our new feature of adding images to each word, what changes will we need to make to each of the two diagrams? Now, assume that the phrases activity will not be showing images, and it will be a special case that will be handled later. So ignore that difference for now. Now remember, this is a thought exercise to help you begin planning how you'll build out your next feature. So there's no right or wrong answer. And when you're done, I'd like you to check this box when you've sketched out your potential solutions.